12 cartoons that were way ahead of their time. If you look at cartoon shows from the 80s, you'll find an extreme commercial interest in the making. The content was aimed at children, and the main goal was to make money by selling toys rather than putting together a concrete script. The monotony of such work got to some of the creators, and they decided to take a step into previously uncharted territories. This was when we were blessed with shows like The Simpsons that ended the debate once and for all that cartoons were only for kids. While the quality of the content that was seen in such shows was unquestionable, at times the makers got a bit too ahead of themselves. They cooked up plots that would be relevant many years from their release, and although these shows were not always the most popular, they were never disappointing in terms of quality. In this video, we take a look at such cartoon shows that were ahead of their time and deserve a viewing even today. Before we go into our list,
Not exactly a fast learner, are you?
Batman Beyond. It is 2040 and Bruce Wayne is retired as Batman. Even after putting together the most advanced Batsuit, he doesn't use it any longer and Gotham City is suffering without a symbol of hope. A troubled high schooler, Terry McGinnis, discovers his identity and is determined to avenge his father's death. His father was about to expose the corrupt practices in Bruce Wayne's company, and the man taking over got him killed. Bruce trains Terry to become the next Batman, and thus the legend of the Caped Crusader will live on. A spin-off of one of the most successful animated shows of all time is daring to say the least, but all the risks paid off. Batman Beyond offers a refreshing twist to the Batman tale where Bruce Wayne is no longer Batman. The well-written animated series also boasted a uniquely stylized animation that made it visually terrific. It gave the vibes of films like Akira and Blade Runner, and the combination of complex plotlines and great dialogues made it fun to watch. The cast of voice actors was some of the best of the era, with the likes of Paul Winfield, Stockard Channing, and Kevin Conroy doing justice to their reputation. There are, however, some minor flaws, and the most notable one would have to be the lack of impactful villains. We weren't a big fan of the new Batsuit either, and Batman purists might frown upon the plot. Even then, this is a very promising animated spin-off that you must try out.
Let's do it.
Transformers Beast Wars. This animated series is premised several years after the Cybertronian Wars. It all starts off when a group of evil Predacons are pursuing a group of heroic Maximal explorers. They crash land on a primitive world where there is an overabundance of natural energy. They transform into robots to battle, and the gallant Maximals fight them to stop them from taking over the galaxy using the energy of the planet. Thus begins a fight between the two forces, as well as a threat from the mysterious alien caretakers of the planet. The Transformers universe is so rich in content that every new endeavor is frowned upon by loyalists. This one, however, proved to be a great addition to the mythology of Transformers and had some gripping characters and action-packed episodes. It is a nice homage to the Generation 1 series, containing all the elements that make it stand out among the rest. We loved how the characters evolve in the show. Cowards become heroes and the baddies prove their honor. The animators did a fabulous job with the transformation scenes. There's some minor changes that we also didn't mind, such as the reduced size of the Predacons and Maximals in comparison to their ancestors. The original Transformers was made in a different era, but Beast Wars still manages to retain the essence of the characters and plots. The show was surprisingly dramatic, and real emotions in cartoons is still not the norm of the day. It did get a lot of hate during that time, but that was only because people were not yet ready to appreciate realism in cartoons. For us, it was 3 seasons of pure joy, the likes of which are missing today. Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack narrates the story of a young prince and his prolonged battle with the evil shape-shifting wizard Aku. The prince is a brave samurai warrior who almost defeated the evil wizard using his magic sword. However, Aku managed to open up a portal in time and send the samurai several years into the future. In this dystopian future, Aku's evil practices form the law, and he rules over the world. The samurai warrior must free the future from the tyranny of Aku and also find a way to come back to his own time before it's too late. This was almost like a divine gift for animation and filled the void that existed in American animated entertainment. It is a cinematic cartoon that looks like something Kurosawa would make. The outstanding animation techniques, unique fight scenes, and crisp humor make it a must-watch for the audience. The simplistic plot has been beautifully captured by the director Genndy Tartakovsky, who broke the barriers that held animation captive for years. It is an absolute work of art with cutting-edge technology, the likes of which became popular many years later. A sense of adventure prevails throughout the series in every season, and that makes it hard to stop watching in between. It did have a successful run and won the Primetime Emmy Award several times.
It's a monster! Trash it!
Gargoyles. The Gargoyles are a clan of heroic monsters from the ancient Dark Ages. They became flesh and blood during the night and turned into stone during the day. These monsters had a deal with humans. The humans would protect their stone forms, and in return the Gargoyles would guard the castles at night. This alliance broke due to betrayal, and the few surviving Gargoyles are suddenly revived in the present era. They have to adjust to the laws of modern times and make some new alliances, such as with Detective Elisa Maza. The Gargoyles learn that they have been revived to fulfill selfish needs, and the warrior monsters must protect the modern New York City as they did in Scotland ages ago. This cartoon series was like a breath of fresh air amidst the stench of brainless shoot-'em-ups that were made to sell action figures. The realistic weapons, hard-hitting plotlines, and mature execution meant that Gargoyles was anything but a children's cartoon. Back then, it was the only dramatic animated series made by Disney, and the character development laid down a firm background for the show. We saw characters facing the consequences of their actions, and the narrative hardly had a loophole. The animation was simply mesmerizing, and it was further helped by some exceptional voice acting that highlighted the strong characters. This series sent out a strong message regarding subjects like gun control, love, life, and family. It was a bit too real for the times, and many people were shocked that individuals actually died in the series. Yes, it could not match up to the popularity of shows like Power Rangers, but the legacy of Gargoyles will remain for years to come. Spawn. Lieutenant Colonel L. Simmons was killed during a mission by a man whom he believed to be an ally. Since he led the life of an assassin, he was sentenced to hell, where he made a deal with the devil to come back to Earth. The devil, however, tricked him and he spawned in a different body that was a maggot-ridden corpse. Life on Earth doesn't please him as well, and he finds out that his beloved wife has moved on with his best friend. Now he must avoid the forces of hell that are trying to hunt him down and also fend off the lure of evil to wreak havoc on Earth. This is adult animation at its finest and a near-perfect representation of Spawn. It easily supersedes the movie and is a great replica of the brilliance created by Image Comics. It is 3 seasons of pure joy, and the makers succeeded in putting together much of the original story of Spawn. The animation is somewhat of a manga style with a western twist, and they stay true to the comic books.
Why are you following her?
The creators didn't shy away from the violence and gore, and there's plenty of swearing and nudity involved in the narrative. The brutality of Spawn is further enhanced by the titular character. Iconic voice artist Keith David used his deep voice to a good effect to bring out the ruthlessness and raw nature of the anti-hero. If you're not perturbed by something dark and daunting, go ahead and watch this gripping animated series. It would have found a much greater audience had it been released in today's time.
Extreme! Max Ray, Brilliant Sea Operation Commander! Jake Rock.
Centurions. In a futuristic world, humans and machines interact, and humans have established habitats in outer space as well. The Centurions are a unit of elite soldiers who are the most powerful force of the era, armed with high-tech suits and weapons. Dr. Terror is a human-machine hybrid and has plans of conquering the world with an army of robots that he built. The Centurions must stop his evil plans as they are the last line of defense for humanity. Their adventures form this entertaining series as they try everything possible to thwart Dr. Terror. Cartoons by Ruby Spears always had something special about them, and Centurions is probably one of his best works. It is as good as an action-adventure gets, and you can tell that the makers splurged a lot of money for putting this together. The plot is simple enough where the good guys fight the bad guys, but things get exciting because of the super cool villains. The campy humor is entertaining, and action lovers will be pleased by the number of gunfights and explosions that take place. The best part was when they used their power suits, and as kids we would wish we had one. Besides the visually pleasing animation quality, the series also had an excellent theme song that was both catchy and groovy.
Unleash their forces to conquer Earth. Only one force can
It would have been better if the antagonists were a bit more powerful, but we're not complaining about what we got. Considering that the series was from the mid-80s, it is safe to say that the style was way ahead of its time. SWAT Cats. In a fictional world where anthropomorphic felines exist, Razor and T-Bone were a part of the city's law enforcement agency but were demoted for disobeying their commander. The villainous Dark Cat has plans to destroy the city, and to fight him, the two use discarded military parts to build a remarkable fighter jet. With their new equipment, Razor and T-Bone become secretive patrols that defend the city against all kinds of threats. They keep their identities a secret even from their trusted allies, and it was only in the second season that Felina joined them as another member of the team. If moral stories can be made interesting, they can be a great source of learning for children. This show thrived on this concept, and every episode had some kind of moral hidden underneath all the action-packed drama. The creativity in shaping the characters is commendable, and the actions of the SWAT Cats was cartoonish enough for the kids. However, most episodes were pretty insane, with a mysterious narrative and tons of action. The cool gadgets and fight moves were entertaining, and their jet, the Turbo Cat, was simply out of this world. We also enjoyed the humor that was on offer despite the seriousness of some of the stories. The most unfortunate thing about this show was that it was taken off the channel after only 2 seasons. Some considered it to be a bit too realistic for the viewers of Cartoon Network, and few understood the visionary work that went into making this amazing series. Johnny Quest. When you think of an adventurous animated series, an 11-year-old boy is seldom one of the central protagonists. However, Johnny Quest is just a kid who accompanies his father on various missions. His father, Benton Quest, is a scientist working for the government, and his technical expertise is often required for some tricky operations. Johnny and his father are accompanied by their adorable bulldog Bandit and another accomplice from India named Haji who has his own mysterious abilities. From battling notorious villains to investigating mysteries, their journey takes them across all kinds of challenges that you will enjoy watching. This series is from the 60s, and even today the charm isn't lost on fans. That should tell you about the quality of content that was on offer. It was not just intended for kids, and in many ways, it is among the first cartoon shows that targeted a mature audience as well. You have 2 extremely likable characters in the father-son quests. While Benton was a cool genius guy, the 2 kids were also an integral part of the adventures. The addition of the Indian kid Haji was a stroke of brilliance, and it was mysterious enough to have a character with very little background. The show contained everything from action, adventure, monsters, spies, and bad guys, and all of this was packed neatly into the half-hour show. The voice cast was perfect for their roles, and a young Tim Matheson stole the show as Johnny. If one isn't nostalgic after watching this golden content from the past, they had no idea what they missed out on. The Tick. The Tick is a tale of a not-so-perfect superhero who has to save a city from evildoers. It all starts when the Tick crashes the superhero convention in his blue superhero suit. He is thought to be the protector of the city, and during his patrol, he comes across an accountant in a strange moth costume named Arthur. The duo forms a partnership to counter the evil entities that plan to flood the city. They are helped by many others, but are largely dependent on the unconventional powers of the Tick. This is a daring adaptation of a comic book that was created by Ben Edlund. It is more of a hilarious spoof on conventional superhero tales, and the Tick is nothing but a comical representation of how bad a hero can be. He is a 7-foot-tall man who isn't as smart or strong as he thinks he is. The plot shows a city that is teeming with superheroes, but most of them are too cowardly or insane. The humor was mature, and even adults appreciated the rich content that was on offer. Satire and memorable characters were not seen much back in the day, and many didn't appreciate it as a spoof. It also couldn't sell toys to kids and was consequently removed from the air, ending a glorious era of genuine cartoons. Extreme Ghostbusters. The plot is premised a few years after the original Ghostbusters series titled The Real Ghostbusters. There has been a drought in terms of paranormal activities, and as a result, the Ghostbusters have been pushed out of business and gone their separate ways. However, now it is time to reunite as the ghosts start reappearing again. The series follows their adventures as Dr. Egon Spengler leads his students capturing ghosts throughout New York City and beyond.
Nail them spooks!
If something isn't broke, don't fix it. But how about reigniting the sparks of the same level of brilliance? This animated series does just that, as it brings back the good old essence of supernatural comedy with a darker tone. The Real Ghostbusters was a massive hit during the 80s, and this one wouldn't be too far behind if we started comparing. Right from the gritty rock-based theme song, you can tell that the makers mean business. The team members have their differences, but still work together for the greater good. We loved the love-hate relationship between Eduardo and Kylie that energized the series with some adorable moments. While most of the episodes were brilliant, we particularly loved the one with the Jersey Devil. The upgrades on their equipment look cooler than before, and the character-driven plot never loses its steam. It is not always about hard-hitting action, and some episodes are just great to watch for the terrific writing and characters. It was aimed at a mature audience, and that probably cost the series the commercial success that it could have achieved. Nevertheless, we appreciate the efforts that went into trying something out of the box, and it worked wonders for us.
4 become 8, defending the earth! Defenders of the earth! Defenders of the earth!
Defenders of the Earth. The evil King Ming lost his throne due to the actions of Flash Gordon, and when he returns, the first thing he does is kill Flash's wife, Dale. To avenge her, Flash gathers some of the toughest heroes out there to put an end to the menace of Ming. Accompanied by many, including his son Rick, the combined force takes on Ming and his notorious offspring, Croton. Uniting the best of the comic strips cannot go wrong, and the idea to have Flash, Mandrake, and the Phantom together was a recipe for success. There were several interesting subplots that also offered a moral angle to the story, and the heroes inspired many more to come later. The simplicity in the concept was perfect for the narrative, and the action-packed episodes promised a wonderful time. Defenders of the Earth had all the best elements of 80s cartoon shows, and it is easy to ignore the cheesy bits, keeping in mind the larger picture. The animation quality has nothing to complain about, and it is accompanied by some good music. It is a tragedy that this show did not exactly soar through the TRP charts and was pulled down a bit too soon. Being ahead of its time means that there is a price to pay.
Jack Tenrak, defending humanity in a world gone mad. A world where only the strong survive. A world of Cadillacs and dinosaurs.
Cadillacs and dinosaurs. In a futuristic world, nature has gotten out of control with all the abuse of civilization. The dinosaurs that had been long gone have returned again and rule the Earth. Humanity is threatened, and the only resistance comes from Jack Tenrak, who is one of the Old Blood mechanics. He teams up with his friends Mustafa and Hannah to fight the corrupt governors and other evil influences at work. It is no secret that the world of fiction has been fascinated with the possibility of humans and dinosaurs coexisting together. This animated series was based on a black and white comic strip by Mark Schultz and thrived on this idea. The protagonist Jack Tenrak considers that any developmental work should be undertaken after considering the implications on nature. Can you beat the educational value in this one? It was not about a notorious villain and a holier-than-thou hero, and the story works because of the relatable characters. The animation deserves a separate appreciation just for the innovative color schemes that were used. The lush green wild jungles have been portrayed well alongside the ruins of modern civilization. The concept was surely ahead of its time because it dared to show a world where modern society collapsed just like the ancient ones before it. A show that spoke about preserving nature in the 90s was clearly not going to work, and it was taken down after only 13 episodes. This is all the time we had for today's episode. We hope you guys liked it. It would be awesome if you guys can take some time to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tell us which topic you want us to cover in the comment section. Have a fantastic day ahead and stay safe.